Hi, thanks for checking out my channel. Hope you guys support unbiased, uncensored bodybuilding content. This is a re-upload, so please, in case anything happens to this channel, head over to Instagram, follow me, contact me directly, and daily content, daily stories. Check me out on Instagram. Hope you guys enjoy the video. What's up, everyone? It's Rusa. I hope everyone is doing well. Before I go do my late night Saturday night cardio, I wanted to do S23 versus RAD 140, and I don't have RAD right now to wave around, but I do have experience with it. I think I'm actually one of the first people to video document RAD 140. Again, when I experimented around with it way back when on my solo run of RAD 140, RAD 140 was kind of like the new SARM on the block, and everyone was afraid to experiment with it. And I went ahead and gave it a shot, and now it's one of the most popular SARMs in the bodybuilding community, it seems like. But S23 versus RAD, this is a very, very, very close comparison, and I'm just going to kind of give you my personal thoughts versus like the actual data, because they're very similar on paper. So I'm going to kind of go into each one first and then give you my thoughts and comparisons and kind of what I think of each one. So S23, if you guys are new here, I'm currently experimenting with 30 mg of S23 a day on top of a baseline of 250 sus a week, although I'm going to be bumping that up to 500 probably, was it Saturday? Yeah, so tomorrow. I'll be going with 500 the next week, and then probably going to keep the S23 at 30. The sweet spot, personally, I see most people with S23 is 20 milligrams per day, and 30 mg the sweet spot for me. Anything above that in the sides are just not worth the dosage. Personally, I've experimented up to, I think, 60 or 70 milligrams per day, and the side effects are just insane at that dosage. But S23 is extremely strong. It was developed as a male contraceptive. So what does that entail? It means it's going to crash your endogenous production of testosterone, meaning it's going to crash your hormones. And I always recommend a base of something that converts to estrogen, because it's really not the big deal that your hormones are crashed while you're on cycle, because you're replacing the testosterone with the androgen S23. But you're going to have no estrogen, and you need estrogen to be anabolic, and you don't want to crash your estrogen, which S23 will crash your estrogen. I was just messaging my friend Alec. You guys saw him on the video yesterday. We were talking about the new SARMs ACP and 3303, and he recently got bloods done on S23 only, and his estrogen was fucking tanked. And he's been on SARMs only for a long ass time. I think he said 8 months, and he still had some amount of estrogen circulating, but S23 tanked his estrogen, and he feels like shit because his estrogen's crashed. So keep that in mind. Again, I always recommend a base with S23 for sure, but positives would be extreme drying look, very vascular, grainy look, strength increase is pretty significant, I'd say, on point with RAD 140. And yeah, the strength, drying effect, it's like a Winstrol-like effect without the DHT sides of Winstrol, I would compare it to. And it's pretty strong. This is the closest one I'd say you can compare to real steroid-like results. This is no joke. And there's some significant sides as well. Like I talked about the suppression, you gotta know that going in, just the way it's designed. As well as some people have noted hair loss. But personally for me, blood pressure increase, body heat increase, and aggression, but not on the same par as RAD 140 in my opinion. But those are the main things. Higher dosage side effects would be cramping and extreme body heat, to a point where it just, like, my core temp is way out of whack. So that's S23 in a nutshell. Again, I've made videos talking ins and outs about S23, so subscribe and browse my channel if you want to learn more, but this is a comparison video. Now we're going to bring up RAD. Just pretend I have a little bumblebee RAD 140 from Enhanced Athlete in my hand. So RAD, similar to S23, was developed to be a male contraceptive, but I don't think it's as successful. Personally, at 50 milligrams per day, I forgot to talk about this side effect, but I did talk about it in another video. My sperm turned into water. Yeah. Not the normal looking sperm, like completely zero sperm, for sure. I've never gone that with RAD. The highest I went up with RAD was I think 40 or 50 mgs per day. But the sweet spot I found is actually 40 for me, personally, but it seems like 30 is what most people like to go with, 20 to 30. But it's pretty much the same sides, but the side that stands out more with RAD is the aggression. The aggression is, I am so short fused with RAD 140, and every one of my friends who has given RAD 140 a shot has noted the extreme amount of aggression alongside RAD 140. It's just no joke. And again, my one friend compares it similar to Tren. So yeah, another thing would be the same sides basically as S23. Core temp increase, I remember I noted the body heat increase. It's very suppressive, but it's not as extreme. I think you could get away with RAD 140 solo run. Again, I have documented an entire cycle of RAD 140 solo run on the channel, and I didn't really seem to have any issues as far as estrogen wise. So there's the body heat increase and the aggression, and I didn't really have any cramps or anything like that. But you could also get dry joints from both of these because they're drying effects, but it depends on your water intake in my opinion. But now let's compare them. So they pretty much have similar side effects: blood pressure increase, body temp increase. But the differences, I would say, is RAD is probably better for strength gaining purposes as well as athletic performance, because I feel like the side effects, although they're the same, they're milder than S23. I just remember RAD being like, okay, you know, these aren't that intolerable. This is more like, holy crap, these are some side effects. But as far as the effects go, I feel like more vascularity, more crazy look with S23, whereas RAD 140, my muscles are physically harder and denser, and I don't look as full. I look more quote unquote natural, but my muscles are super hard and dense, and I feel a lot stronger, and like everything like when I lift heavy, it just feels a lot smoother. That's what I remember. But I'm not as I'd still say the vascularity was pretty crazy, but I feel like vascularity and separation, this is better, but for strength purposes and muscle density purposes, RAD is better. These are very similar in effects, and it's very hard for me to compare them. I wish I might get some RAD 140 just to run for a quick week, just to compare them, since I'm already in this massive cut carousel of switching out SARMs and trying to compare them. But that's what I can really note off the bat. But the aggression side effect is so far worse with RAD 140. So if you're going for that for like a sport, or you're a power lifter and want to get aggressive with the weights, then that'll definitely put you on edge more than S23. I did notice it with S23, but RAD, like, your fuse is short, and that's pretty much the biggest separating factor, I'd say, between them, other than the fact that this has more significant sides at the end of the day. But both are pretty suppressive for sure. They both developed to be male contraceptives. However, I think S23 is a much more successful male contraceptive, because I think you can't get away with running a base of something that converts to estrogen with S23. Whereas I've seen a lot of people who have done it with RAD 140, so I'd say it's not as extreme. But they're very similar in effects. I would say for vascularity purposes, go with S23. For strength building purposes, RAD is probably the better pick. RAD, I noted my muscles were like really hard and just dense feeling. It felt weird. But S23, I'm more like fuller, freakier looking. Whereas RAD, I'm flat looking, but I'm hard and dense and strong. So I hope that kind of gave you a comparison. These are probably the two most similar SARMs, in my opinion, like effects wise. So it's going to be dependent on the individual, on how each individual, you know, once they start the experiment with their lab rat, what side effects present themselves more with each SARM. But the one thing that separates them would be the aggression with RAD is a lot worse. and the suppression of E2, your estrogen, you need a base of something to experiment with S23 in my opinion. So that's a quick comparison between RAD and S23. These are like the strongest cutting SARMs out there currently. Again, ACP is coming up through the ranks, so we'll try and we'll put ACP next to these two on the results scale and see what that means. But very androgenic SARMs. These are probably two of the most androgenic SARMs that you can go with, and both are very, very strong for sure. I mean, they're no joke for orals, and if you stack them with real gear or you run the RAD standalone, a big popular stack is LGD plus RAD, you know, you can get some significant results with both of these SARMs. But again, there are very subtle differences. I wanted to point those out in case anyone was looking into going with each or the other, or maybe you've ran RAD and you're looking into S23, kind of seeing if it's worth going. Maybe this helped you. So enjoy your Saturday, everyone. Happy weekend. I will see you in my next